Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is me, primetime Alex Stein, and our next guest is a victim of this intense border crisis that's, according to the left stream media, not real, but Alexis's story is incredibly real. And with no further introduction, I want to invite on Alexis Nungaray. Alexis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Today is actually my birthday, so I'm trying to stay in good spirits. So I'm doing okay, it's day by day.
I know, and Alexis, the reason your story is so intense is that you had a 12-year-old daughter that went outside of the house and was abducted by two men and brutally murdered. And it's one of the most tragic things that can absolutely happen to a person. And I can't imagine the pain and suffering that it's caused you. And I know that even though you've gotten a lot of support from Donald Trump and you've gotten support from the media as well, that nothing will ever compare to the love that you had and shared with your daughter. And just real quick, without me pontificating too much, I lost my mother during the pandemic, and
I'm
it was
sorry.
it was really challenging. So, I'm empathetic to what you're going through, but how do we fix this? I mean, how many more young children are we going to have to lose to this border crisis, in your opinion, before even the liberals or progressives do something about it?
I'm really hoping it's none, but that's not the face of reality. The hard facts of reality is there will be, unfortunately, more Jocelyn's, but that's why I'm being so courageous, and that's why I'm using my voice since her voice was viciously ripped away from her. I am choosing to speak up for other families who aren't able to do and be where I'm at right now and talk about what I'm talking about, because it is a very difficult thing to to discuss. But I hate that it had to be my daughter, but maybe something about my daughter that led to something with me, that this unfortunately is a desperate wake up call that this country needs to realize that Jocelyn needs to be the last Jocelyn. She needs to be the last child for this to happen.
Laken Riley was obviously savagely attacked and murdered by an illegal immigrant. And I'm sure you're not anti-immigration. I'm not anti-immigration, but the fact is, they're letting people come into this country unvetted, and a lot of these people have gang affiliations, and both of these guys had gang affiliations. So this was a tragic incident, but they were able to catch the guys. How are they able to find them, Alexis?
Through the help of the community of Houston and Houston Police Department were incredible. They worked endlessly night and day to find them. There was endless amounts of anonymous tips that came in. These guys, the day after, they went out to dinner and go went out to go eat, like as if they didn't just take a child's life and just leave her in a ditch in a bed of water. It's it's incredible that they thought they could just one could alter his facial appearance to make it look like he wasn't him,
Is
but
that what he did? Is that what one of
that's
them
what he
did?
did.
What did they do? Shave their...
He had a full beard, and once he was watching the news with his still shots on them, he completely shaved his face clean, and he thought that was going to be the band-aid over his mistake, but it didn't work because he was still caught within days of them doing what they did to her.
Well, that's why America's better than Venezuela, because in Venezuela they probably could get away with stuff like that, gang
Mm-hmm.
activity, and so they're that dumb that they would shave their facial hair and still go to like a restaurant and eat as if it was just any other day. It just shows you it's a different culture and different world. And this is obviously less bad, but another issue people are having is that a lot of illegal immigrants are getting jobs in the gig economy where they're driving Uber or doing Uber Eats. And a lot of these people don't even understand the traffic laws here in America because they're so different where they're from. And people are getting hit. A school bus full of children got hit. So, this is a serious issue that you can be affected. Doesn't matter your political leaning. It doesn't matter, your
Mm-hmm.
race, your ethnicity. You can be affected by this. because it's people that are making an accident or purposely attacking people. I mean, it's just you never know who can be a victim. And Alexis, so if you don't mind me asking, what is your life like though? I mean, have you had a tough life? This obviously is the toughest thing, but I mean, losing my mom, it really toughened me up, and I don't think I'm necessarily a better person for it, but I know I'm a tougher person. But have you? Do you have the capability to handle something like this? Because I don't know if I would. I mean, my dad tells me, and I'm not trying to make this a soft spot. We might have to edit this out. My dad told me multiple times, Alex, if something happened to you, I would kill myself. My dad said that to me. And I mean, maybe that's unhealthy that my dad said that. And it's not really a funny thing, but I mean, I can't imagine, like, are you okay? Are you built tough enough to get through this, Alexis?
Um, well, me being 28 today, I've gone through a lot in life. Actually, I've gone through bad relationships. I've gone through bad paths, bad choices. I've kind of gone through a lot. I've had an accident that I shouldn't have been here. I broke my legs. I've gone through a lot in life, and that's just a small piece of it. But I I've never lost anybody before I lost my daughter. And I always told people, I've always been really close to people who've lost somebody in their life, close to them, dear to them. And I've always told them, I don't know how you do it. I said, I believe there's a reason God's never put that in my path for me, because he knows I wouldn't be able to handle it. He knows it's not meant for me. And, the one person he decided to take away from me was my own child that I created, that I made, that I raised, that I grew up with. Um, I have a lot of faith in God, and I wouldn't be making it today if it wasn't for him and me leaning on him, because I don't think I could have done it without having God by my side and giving me strength. And I truly think, I people think I just want 5 minutes of fame, or I'm supporting the wrong things, but I'm me speaking out to the amount of people I'm speaking out to, me doing the amount of interviews, me talking to the amount of cameras I've been talking with. It's it's helping me heal. It's forcing me to talk about it. It's forcing me to open up about it. It's forcing me to go through the motions of it. Yes, am I going to have moments by myself alone where I break down and I cry and I think about her and I see something that reminds me of her? Of course, I break down. It's all I want is her back. If I could just give her one last hug, that's all I want. But I can't go back in time. So I try my hardest to try to make change now, because I don't want there to be more Jocelyns. So I stand with faith in God, and I am being the bravest I've ever been in my life to help me heal and help me make this country safer for every other kid.
And you are incredibly brave and courageous, that's for sure. And you should talk to as many people as possible. Of course, people are going to spin it and say, oh, you're just trying to get attention. But nobody would trade their 12-year-old daughter for internet
I'd have her back in a
attention.
heartbeat if
I
I
mean, no,
could.
if anybody believes that, then they're on drugs or they have a serious mental deficiency. So, when we talk about the people that have supported you, Donald Trump has been there to support you, and I'm sure that's probably gotten you a little bit of backlash just because, people are mad that his rhetoric, they consider it xenophobic or they consider him racist. I obviously don't think Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump's not racist, but
Right.
has his help helped you or has it hurt you, Alexis?
He Donald Trump and his team have been incredibly helpful to me. They've, Donald Trump's a father, a grandfather. He knows what it's like to love someone unconditionally, and that's what we need for this country. Someone who has compassion, who has empathy, and they've Donald Trump has just reached out to me just to see how I'm doing. His team has reached out to me just to see how I'm doing. I've, had phone calls when I first spoke with him right before he went on the debate stage. He was backstage and he had to cut it, just to let me know he was about to go on stage, but he just had to answer my phone call to just hear how I was doing and to just give me his warmest regards. And he sounds sincere, and it's just the effort. It matters to me and it counts.
Yeah, and that's what they say. Donald Trump is a very warm guy, and that, he's obviously wants to help people. He doesn't want young children to be, brutally, viciously attacked and murdered. But You know, when we talk about like the politics and all this stuff, you're in Houston. How long have you lived in Houston?
I've actually lived in Houston my whole life.
Yeah, see, I'm from Dallas too, and so we kind of have similar vibes, different cities,
Hmm.
but you know what I mean. But Dallas
Right.
has gotten progressively worse, just with break-ins and cars and drugs. How much has Houston changed since all of this, since the Joe Biden open border policy?
It's gotten progressively worse. I'm someone who kind of always stayed out of the political field. My family never really spoke about it much. There wasn't always huge debates on it. So I kind of just steered away from politics, never paid attention to it. But I noticed it started getting really bad. A lot of people being here illegal. And, I'm not against people wanting a better life. I am all for if you're coming from somewhere that is not safe and you have children and you want a better life and a better family, by all means, just there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And some people may not have the right channels of how to come here the right way. So they come here the only way they know, which is to sneak over here, which is, not the right way. And it really didn't open my eyes to how bad it really was until it hit directly into my home and it affected my family and took a child away from me off of just, like you said, her just going out knowing she shouldn't have gone out, but kids are going to be kids. They're going to think that nothing will ever happen to them. And it really made me aware of the safety of our kids. It really made me aware that we have a huge problem in this country. And, just learning that, Venezuela, we have nothing to vet them with. They don't have any records over there. And it's just extremely hard to even get anything on them. So it just even makes it more frustrating as to why they're here in the first place.
Yeah, I remember when I was in sixth and seventh grade, 12, 13, we'd sneak out all the time, and we wouldn't even go sneak out to do anything, just to go
Mm-mm.
walk around the football stadium. I mean, that's normal
Mm-hmm.
kid stuff, and you should be able to live in a country where a kid can walk around at night and not be attacked. So, I was talking about my personal experience, and I lost my mother under really traumatic ways. I really didn't like the way that the hospital handled her and the doctors, and I remember when she passed away in my arms, I was so mad at them, and I didn't really yell and scream, but I spoke very direct to them. But now, like after the fact, I don't necessarily want any ill will to happen to them, but I
Right.
imagine your situation is a little different. You hear like you see examples of parents of children that were killed in a DWI crash specifically, I remember, and I see the parents sometimes forgive the criminals, but in your circumstance there can be no empathy, I'm guessing. Or how do you feel? Are you sympathetic or empathetic or what do you want retribution? I mean, what do you think about these two sick individuals?
Um, I'm not the perfect Christian.
Mhm.
I, you know, I, I'm actually new in faith. My son is who got me. Her little brother is who got me to start going back to church, and that started just at the top of this year. So I think he already knew God needed to send me a message to prepare me for what was coming in my life, and I I don't think I can forgive them at this very moment. I'm very angry that they did what they did. They could have, it's a lot of blaming fingers, pointing fingers when it comes to being in court and I did this, but I didn't do that. But he did this and he told me to do that. It's just it's very upsetting to me that you two grown men could have spoke up. Two grown men could have spoke up and they could have, someone could have made a difference and they could have stopped what they were doing. They could have let her go or they could have just ran off. They could have chosen to do something and they didn't. And they decided to leave her where they left her. And it's very infuriating. And, they want to look like these law abiding people who were scared to go back to their own country, but are doing the harm that was out in their country doing that here so openly. And it's just very frustrating for me to know that it's gone where it's gone.
Well, before we wrap things up, how's your personal life? Are you, I mean, are you staying in the house? Are you even eating? I mean, like, how are you actually doing? You can be honest. I'm sure people want to know going through something like that. I mean, how are you doing in your personal life?
I have a big support system who've been getting me through a lot. I
Have you been drinking or doing drugs? I would probably go off the edge, honestly.
I had
I
my
know you found,
moments.
yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not even hating. I would be drunk as a skunk probably because I don't know how else I would medicate that pain. So are you doing that? Or, I mean, you can be
I
honest.
had my moments when at the very beginning, a friend's just trying to get me to get my mind off things and just, go to the bar. And, I had a lot of family that was helping with her brother just because it's a lot to take in and it's a lot to go through. And, it hitting media so fast, so quickly, so early on, it's a lot. And, I was doing quite a bit of drinking because I didn't know what else to do. But it didn't really last long. It lasted maybe a couple weeks because I still have her little brother that needs me to be the best mom I can try to be as I'm grieving, as I'm healing, because he's also a brother who's grieving his sister. So you know, I he keeps me grounded for the most part. What your dad said is fairly true. If had I not had another child, I probably wouldn't want to be here anymore.
Wow. Well, Alexis, like I said, give yourself a lot of grace and don't beat yourself up because that's the easy thing to do is to have, and I'm sure you obviously have some guilt, and there's nothing that's going to take, there's no words that I'm going to say or Donald Trump or anybody that's going to say that's going to take away that pain. But I just think the best thing to do is just be the best mom you can to your son. And I know that's the advice that everybody's giving you. And don't beat yourself up. You're allowed to have bad days. I think it's okay. And people say it's insensitive, but I think you should go on a vacation whenever you get a chance. I mean, I know it's
Yeah,
not going to be that fun, but you need to do something because every day counts, and you're going to have a lot of rough days before they start getting better. So distract yourself a little bit. Obviously, be a good mom. But Alexis, I think the best bet, and you don't have to take advice from me, but you got to get your story out there. Even though you're going to get some kickback, people are going to say, "Oh, you're going on TV shows. Oh, you're friends with Donald Trump." People are going to hate you regardless. So just
you
don't
can't
worry.
please everybody.
Yeah, don't worry about the opinions of strangers. Give yourself a lot of grace. You have a lot of courage, and nobody deserves to go through what you've gone through. And you know, things will get better though. Like when I lost my mom, I mean, everybody loses, losing a parent's normal. It's much worse to lose a kid, but the pain does get easier. It's hard for me to say that. It kind of makes me nauseous
You
and
just
sick to
learn to
say that.
manage it, huh?
But I'm just saying it does. You're never gonna not miss your daughter, but the pain will go less and less, and then there'll be a day when you don't really even have that same pain, and you might even forgive these two freaks, even though I hope they get the electric chair. What do you think? What would be? Would you be happy if they got the death penalty? Last question.
It's kind of in the air because, I hate that the death penalty requires them to be isolated. I want them to be with everybody.
Yeah, because
As
they
much as
would
I
get
don't want it,
payback. If you
I
abuse a
want them to be
child,
miserable.
yeah.
I want them to be miserable. I want them to not live a happy life. I want them to never have a smile on their face for the rest of their life. And I know that's very ugly to say, but
No, it's not.
I will never truly be happy because a piece of my heart is 6 feet under the ground. Um, it's it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm truly weighing out the pros and cons of each decision because it's a big decision to make.
Well, one good thing is that you're still young. You're, if I dare say, an attractive young female. So I think that your life is obviously going to bounce back. Is all I can say. I think that everything will be okay. Is it going to be great? No, but just keep on getting the message out there. I think it's really important in this world we live in where the media will just lie. So thank you for having the courage. Just keep on
Of
fighting,
course.
Alexis. You have a lot of support, especially not just from me, but my audience and all the millions of people that you're speaking to on a daily basis.
Thank you so much for your time. It really means a lot to the smaller media and just like people who just want to cover the story and just keep speaking and saying her name because she matters. She was a person, she was a child, and we've got to we've got to do something.
We got to fight for Jocelyn. Thank you, Alexis. Have a good
Thank you.
day. And I'll
Have a good one.
and that was good. Thank you, Alexis. We'll probably put the whole interview on our YouTube, and then during the show we'll
Okay.
probably edit like a 5 minute part of it. But I'll send you the link. And I mean that.
Okay.
Thank you for being strong. Nothing I can say to take away the pain, but just and give yourself some grace. You can go have a beer or
Yeah.
something, a little bit. But don't obviously don't drink too much. But I can't
hmm
imagine what you're going through. You gotta release some of
I got my
that.
nights where it's hard and I cry and I just break down, but then I just keep myself distracted. I'm trying to get back into school and I've had the
Yeah.
opportunity to, I've had the opportunity to be blessed to not have to force myself right back into work and I can take some time off and I can try to get a better education, try to have a better career, to have a better life for her brother. Because I know, obviously we lived somewhere that wasn't the greatest. It was all I
Yeah.
could afford. I was doing it by myself, and it's day by day, and just trying to move on into new routines is kind of hard, but it's necessary.
Have you talked to an attorney? Do you have any civil like recourse? Can you sue the park or the city or anything like that? Have you talked to
I
attorneys?
don't know actually. I haven't looked into it. No one's actually brought that up to me at all. So
Well,
it was something
I'll
that
send
kind
my
of
story. Excuse me, I'll send this, but I'll also
okay.
contact, I got a good attorney. I'll ask him if he can help you out. He'll definitely give you some free advice. For sure he would help you out.
Great. That would be great. Thank you so much.
All right, Alexis, I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you for coming on. And you're going on my friend Sarah Gonzalez's show. She's great too.
Yeah.
So really
Okay.
appreciate you coming on.
Awesome.
Have a good
Thank you
one,
so much for your
Alexis.
time. Thanks, you
Peace.
too. Bye.